If there's any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rules, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way.
Hey homies, what's up? Ryan Wynn here with the continued adventures of inking Hammerella. Now, I think I might have been too neg in the last video. I don't want to be negative. So, this episode, while we continue this, we are going to talk about dealing with self-doubt. Because last time I just said, it's going to be there, you're going to have to deal with it. And I was so concerned with keeping the video at around 10 minutes that I sort of didn't offer any solutions. I hope that didn't bum anybody out. So one of the ways I found to get through things like self-doubt, and it works for if you're hearing negativity from others, it's all meditation techniques. I really got into a lot of Eastern thought and philosophy when I was younger, and that kind of stuff really helped a lot. So you can think of it, this is some of the techniques that worked for me. So maybe we'll just deal with self-doubt, because it applies to all, but I don't want to have to say that every few seconds. You know what, let me adjust the camera. There we go. So a negative thought or doubt is going to pop up. Now, so are 1,000 other thoughts. Your mind's always racing. It's always thinking so many different things. So the key is to just let that stuff flow like a river. And I know that sounds a little cliched as well, but it really works. If you think of your thoughts, all of them as this continuous flowing river. The thoughts you don't like are going to flow by. And the key is to sort of let them do that. Just let them flow by. Don't focus on them. If you focus on them, it's almost like giving a demon power or something like that. And that thought's it's gonna stand out among other thoughts. And you're gonna think, why am I always thinking that? Why am I always thinking that? So the key is to accept that those thoughts are gonna be there, and then let them flow by. And try to focus on other thoughts. Now this is the kind of stuff that takes years of practice, like lifelong practice, but you continue doing that. That's the thing, you practice. Sometimes it'll work really well for you for long periods of time, and sometimes maybe it doesn't. But the key is not to let that thing, don't give it free rent in your head. Don't give it that doubtful thought. Now, on one hand, you might suck. I mean, that's just straight up. You might just suck, bro. In that sense, you want to accept where your skill levels are, and you want to be realistic, but you also want to be able to improve and stuff like that. And you don't want to be too self-deprecating either. But I swear it really does work that if you don't allow that negative thought to focus too much, or to gain power from you, it won't seem so bad. And the same thing goes, like I said, if it's somebody else has said something negative about your work, and that keeps popping back up in your head, it's going to, and don't try to fight it. Trying to fight it just kind of brings attention to it in your own head. And eventually it'll just sort of become a quiet thing in the back of your head that you're like, oh yeah, I remember I used to think that self-doubt stuff, but now I don't let that get to me. But everything's a practice. It's all just like the brush. So practice those things. Practice meditating. Brushwork is good for that. Like I've said before, if I'm not yapping away while I'm inking, I like to sort of let my mouth hang open, breathe in through my nose, and calmly out through my mouth. And sort of just let there be a gentle rhythm. It relaxes me. And it's so, I'm so practiced at it now that once I start breathing in that pattern, my body sort of knows that, like, oh, we're inking. And I get into, oh, sorry, I hit my lamp. We get into this kind of hyper focus mode. I developed the hyper focus mode for deadline work because I want to be able to do the best work possible at the highest speed. But I don't really feel like I need to teach that. There's not going to be much. There already isn't demand for inkers out there. So I mostly just want to teach technique. I don't need to teach how to come up with techniques while you're freaking out about a deadline. Deadlines suck. But anyways, so yeah, do your breathing techniques. Listen to music while you ink. I actually prefer listening to people talking, either stand-up comedy or podcasts. For me, there's always been something about the rhythm of the human voice that I prefer listening to more often than music. People think I'm weird for that, especially because I play in a band. Anyways, where are we at? Hey, 7 minutes, not bad. We're making some good time on this. I gave you some solutions that you could try for some problems you may have. All right, my brush is really wet. I probably should not be touching up here by the face. I don't want to mess any of that up. So we're going to go to a heavier line, this underside of her cape. Bear down a little and let the ink flow. Actually, there's a lot of water on the brush right now. I don't think that is showing up on camera, but it's very gray. I'm going to wipe some of that off on my little piece of board I have over here. Go back in for a little bit of a dip now that we got some of the water off. Yeah, it's still wet. Usually everything dries pretty quick when you're dealing with a brush. All this is dry now. We can come over here and give this a nice beefy line here, this underside of the cape. What's kind of fun about doing heavier lines on bigger figures is you can really bear down here right there and not worry about that line cutting over into her thigh there. And you always want to give as much smoothness and curvature as possible. So here we got almost like a little S curve for the tail of that cape. Or it could have just been a C curve, but we give it that extra little bloop bloop right there. And that makes me happy. All right, this is dry now, so we can come over here. Underside of this cape, nice and thick. All right, she's got some kind of little half glove thing on the back of her hand. I want to beef that up too. And then these gauntlets are cool like that. Let's see, let's finish her feet. You never want to leave the feet out. You don't want to be a feet cheat. I know everyone's got their favorite artists to make fun of how they either draw feet or void feet. We're not going to name names here. We're just going to make sure we always make our feet look cool. There we go. Let's see. Make sure that's all dry now. We're going to do her headpiece next. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this character. I think every week I want to do some kind of splash page with her, which could lead to, I don't know, maybe a series of splash pages that tell a story. I don't know. Like, you know, maybe every Wednesday release a splash page. Make it like the superhero version of Blood Realm. I mean, I know he's got panels, but you could almost when I think of Blood Realm, I think of just awesome. It just seems like splash pages to me and text. I'm gonna go heavy on that. All right, I made a mistake. I should have hit these lines first, and then come back and done those, because now I gotta wait it out. So we'll hit these cape lines. Yeah, I don't really have an origin story for her yet. I don't know if she's in the Gods and Gears universe. We're gonna do a nice little long line here for you. But I do have a few ideas for some really cool splash pages. Might as well have her be part of the Gods and Gears universe. Everything can be. I don't know. That's one of those things that, like, one day I'll think it's a good idea, and the next day I'm like, no, that's stupid. Just let Gods and Gears be Gods and Gears. But it's kind of fun to have shared universe stuff, your own creations. But even if I do that, I don't have to. They don't have to be like forced together in story or anything. I'm gonna finish up a few of the details here. Remember, we're always mapping out even little lines. You map out your trajectory and then go for the stroke. Go for the stroke. All right, this is all dry now, so we can do this. So I do it super quick sometimes. So fast you don't even notice, but I will, say, I've made that line. Now I'm coming up for the next line. I'm actually dropping my brush right above where I want it to end, and then I move quickly here and return it. So that comes with experience and practice. And if you want to catch up to people that are years ahead of you, you've got to put in extra practice every day. That's what I did when I was young. When I was in my 20s, I was like, okay, I want to play with the big boys. So I need to gain years of experience that I do not have. And so I just devoted myself to making thousands and thousands of lines on blank pages so that I was so good with each tool that I use. And I focused just on brush or nib, barely brush in the beginning. Nib was much easier to learn with and do what we were doing when I was young and working at Danny Mickey's studio. Plus, I had a little nib experience because my mom was a calligraphist, so I'd used her tools to ink comic book pieces of my own. I'm gonna beef everything up. I had an awesome hamburger today, so I'm like, let's beef everything up. Cooking so much now that we're home. all the time, or stuck home, and I kind of like it. Excuse me. All right, so we took this one to 15 minutes. I think we did a good job. We're gonna call it here for now. And next time we'll get to this electricity, and we'll do some of that black smoke, or those black clouds swirling in the background. So remember, until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and take it easy. And if you haven't already, head over to alternaaccess.com and check out the book I wrote, Gods and Gears, with art by Dean Kotz and letters by Wes Loker. Issue 4 is out soon.
Stupid cat.